Believe we're live. Okay. Hold on. I don't know if we're live. Are we live? Yes, we're live. Let me go to YouTube. Right. Live. Jordan, Jen, 3 people so far. 7 people. All right. Smash that like button. We'll wait for folks to trickle in to the party on Friday. Hope everybody could hear us, see us. I'm going to try desperately to remember to unmute my mic today so we don't have any issues. Let us know in the super chat if you could hear us, if you could see us. Quite the week and quite the situation Jen is in, which I'm going to touch on. We have an amazing interview, which Jen, I would honestly get you Kleenex. I would get you tissues. Just did an interview with a Standing Rock Sioux member, and just unbelievable what's going on there right now. Continued illegal building of the Dakota Access Pipeline, and COVID is decimating Native American communities, including Standing Rock. So, how's your morning so far, or day? We're wait for more people. Let us know, folks, if you can hear us well. I heard one person say, "Hello, I'm here. I see and hear you." Okay, good. Let's wait till we get the audience up to 100. If you could send a text out too. Joy has her Kleenex. Cannot hear Jen. I think it's on your end because I hear her. Oh no. Jen, talk. Hmm. I hear you, but not her. Can't hear Jen. Why don't you? No. Uh, it's showing that you're talking. Talk again. Let me see something. Uh, talk, Jen. Keep talking. Good God. Let's see. All right, I'm going to remove you for a minute. Hold on, folks. Adding Jen back. Okay, talk, Jen.
Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing. Testing, testing. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, hold on. It's delayed. I'm checking.
Rudy hates me. Rudy, Rudy,
Stop, stop, stop.
Rudy.
All right. You're working now. Now. Okay. Yes, we got it. We got it. By the way, credit to me figuring that out. I'm very impressed with myself. All right. Jordan here.
Very good.
Jen here. Quite the day. Quite the day. And if you missed Jen's live stream earlier, by the way, smash the like button, smash the like button, thumbs up right under the live stream. More people that press like, the more people that will see. Lot to discuss, and I have a tearjerker of an interview coming up with a Standing Rock Sioux member. Of course, we got to stay on what's going on with the Dakota Access Pipeline, as well as our Native communities. Really, really upsetting interview, but also, I would say also inspiration at the end. Jen, you did a live stream earlier. Could you give the Cliff Notes version before I go on a rant? What is your current situation?
Yeah, so I'm sure you guys have heard by now that yesterday I attended the Rudy Giuliani press conference in DC in a very, very tiny, very, very tight space. Basically, the press was made to be on top of each other in this space. The press conference lasted almost 2 hours. Rudy Giuliani and crew were not wearing masks. Rudy did not like the question that I gave him. It was a contentious situation. He called me names, etc. So today I wake up and I find out. Hold on. Today I wake up and I check Twitter and I found out that Andrew Giuliani, Rudy's son, was in the room and he tested positive for COVID. And today he said he was experiencing mild symptoms. I could, I don't want to say I couldn't believe it because I can believe it because Trump's whole circle is just very disrespectful around surrounding COVID. They are conspiracy theorists surrounding COVID and just complete monsters surrounding COVID. But to see right there that an event that I attended because I believe strongly in the importance of journalism and in holding power to account, I attended that event because that is my job. Like that's what I do. So to see that a member of Rudy Giuliani's team, and in fact his son, tested positive for COVID at an event that I attended yesterday, and an event that they did not book a big enough room for, that there is zero chance of social distancing at an event where Rudy's team directed us to get closer and closer and closer together at, I was furious. And so I immediately knew that I had to quarantine. So here I am quarantining. I'm not leaving my bedroom except to go to the bathroom. I have 2 children who I now can't hug, who have to speak to me through the bedroom door. I'm having food dropped off to me in the hallway outside my door. I don't know what else to say except I'm furious that Rudy Giuliani and his team and all of Trump and his cronies still refuse to wear masks, that there have been so many affected by this in and around the White House, and they still don't wear masks. They still don't take this seriously. They would have you believe that coronavirus is over because the election is over. That's what's going around in these MAGA circles. No, coronavirus is in full force and worse than ever before. It is now
nearly
like devastating them.
Nearly 2,000 people died yesterday, the largest number since June.
And I don't know what the exact number was. Maybe you do, Jordan, of yesterday's, but it's like sweeping the Midwest. It's not only concentrated in big cities now, it is devastating small towns, areas that are more spread out. So I find that just it's scarier now to me than it was always scary, but now it is scarier than ever before. And so Andrew Giuliani, he is an assistant to Trump. He works in the White House, and he's had direct contact with people in the White House. Rudy Giuliani's team, Sidney Powell, Jenna Ellis, they've been holed up in Arlington in a hotel in preparation for this insane batshit conspiracy theory laden press conference for days. Andrew Giuliani, the whole team. So they've all been exposed to it. Rudy, they just came out. Jenna Ellis and Rudy just tested negative, but who knows? It takes a while for it to show up. And Andrew just tested positive as of today. So who knows? I was in very close contact with Rudy and the lawyers. I did not personally see Andrew. Apparently he was in the back of the room, which the room is very small. So like we were all close to everyone. So I'm upset. I'm really sad. And like, honestly, one of my sons is, I won't get into too much of his personal information because that's not my place to do. But this, I don't want to cry, but this is particularly hard for him. He's really scared. So it's hard.
Will you allow me to go on a rant?
Yes, do.
Before I go on a rant, let me make a direct pledge to you today, Coup Nation, the Coup community. Got 270 people watching. Smash the like button. Thumbs up right under the live stream. Please, if you can, leave a super chat. Our GoFundMe is rocking and rolling too. We need you because we'll get into it a little bit later. The member purge that we experienced, I'll show you again. This is how many members we've lost since April. And we realize now that a major part of why we've lost that many members is due to our website being hacked. We've been talking to our tech people every day. We now actually have tech people. Some members have followed our directions to see if their membership is still active, because a lot of members were wrongly made inactive, meaning they were purged due to the hacking of our website. As we've told you, your financial information is safe. Nothing was taken. It's not even stored on our website, but we've lost thousands of dollars a month in revenue because of this drop. Right now, we are at 1,544. We're trying to get in contact individually with many of our members, telling them about this, that you might have been wrongly made inactive, and asking them to sign back up. But you know how it goes. Email goes to spam, or they don't open the email, or whatever. So this is going to be a long process for us to build back our membership and get members that were wrongly purged to reactivate. So until then, if you want to support our journalism and kind of help us offset the lost revenue, please leave a super chat or GoFundMe donation. Jen, drop the GoFundMe link if you can. So I'm going to go on a rant because I've kind of had enough. I've really had enough. And I just don't have any tolerance.
Is this a no glasses rant? Or?
Not yet. I don't even have tolerance for the Corona truthers. If there's Corona truthers in the chat, I don't care. Get rid of them or don't bother with them, because I don't have any tolerance. And in part, not that Jen's not her own woman and person, and she made the decision to go yesterday, but I kind of egged her on, so I'm a little mad at myself. Obviously,
no, I wanted to go.
No, I know. Like, I don't dictate if Jen goes or not. She's obviously has her own agency to do so. But part of me is upset at myself for not saying I don't think you should go. I had no way to know what the layout was. I didn't realize they were going to have it in a fucking box in the side of a hotel. But
honestly, I thought it was going to be outside because Trump was posting the freaking address online, on Twitter. I thought he wanted supporters to come or whatever.
But at this point, not that I consider most of the journalists that were there, because Jen's really the only one that challenged Rudy Giuliani, and for that she was, hurled every sexist, misogynist, right-wing lunatic attack under the sun on Twitter yesterday. Really disgusting language against her. And, I don't really use the sexism card much. I think that was an excuse in large part with Hillary and others.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have treated me the way they treated her yesterday if I was the one challenging Rudy. That I could tell you. But the bottom line is, not only should journalists stop covering Trump's White House, Rudy and his fucking lunatic QAnon accomplices, this woman with the leopard shirt ranting that Venezuela and Cuba and China is in on this conspiracy. Not only should we, including Status Coup, not go to any more of these press conferences, not only should even the White House stop going to the press briefings with Kayleigh McEnany, who's another fucking cockamamie conspiracy theorist. I say this directly. They should boycott covering this White House because Donald Trump, his only source of oxygen is never-ending attention. He knows he lost, fair and square. And Rudy Giuliani, for whatever reason, whether it's the money or he's, God knows what his relationship with is Trump, he knows it's all for show and it's all bullshit. But the sheer selfishness of these fucking assholes, Rudy Giuliani, whatever the woman's name was with the leopard, Boris Epstein, who I happen to know, and Mark Meadows, who wouldn't wear a mask in front of the press, and all these people who wouldn't wear a mask. It's not only the fact that they're morons. It's not only the fact that they're truthers. They are literally willing to kill journalists. They are willing to kill their press people who are setting up these press conferences. They are willing to kill their family. Who knows how Rudy Giuliani's son got it? Maybe he got it from Rudy. They're willing to kill themselves because of Trump and the culture war. We know for damn sure Rudy Giuliani would be wearing a mask if Trump, beginning in March and April, made it a patriotic duty to wear the mask. We know that Rudy Giuliani, the leopard lady, I don't know her name, Sydney something, would be wearing a mask if Trump made it a culture war not to wear a mask. We know they would be wearing a mask if Trump and Trump's organizations made MAGA masks or Trump's face on a mask. They'd all be wearing masks because it's not about the mask. It's not about science. It's not about anything other than they're following their cult leader. And the fact that Jen is now at risk, God forbid, hopefully she ain't going to get coronavirus. But you want to know something? Being packed in a room like that, where 5 people in the front are not wearing a mask, when Rudy Giuliani is pouring down sweat and hair dye and God knows what else was pouring down of him, when the woman behind him covered her face at certain points, yeah, it's going to circulate because odds are one of those people have it. And it really doesn't matter how many of the journalists were wearing masks because masks are like seat belts. They dramatically lower the risk of contracting. They don't eliminate it. And the fact that they set this up, this press conference, in the corner of a room, where was it, at a hotel? It
was in the RNC building.
The RNC building. When they sure as hell could have done it outside, and they sure as hell could have put a mask on. And now, it's not just Jen, by the way. The other journalists, I use journalists loosely, who were there with a mask, that are now seeing that Rudy Giuliani's son has COVID. And in the coming days, maybe we'll find out that Rudy has COVID, or Sydney has COVID, or Boris has COVID, or the other Neanderthals up there has COVID. They're all probably going to have to quarantine away from their kids. They're all going to have to be panicked, whether 4 or 5 days from now, I'm going to have COVID. Journalism, yes, there are calculated risks you have to take from protests and elections or whatever, and we take the calculated risks. But usually those risks are not coming from the very people speaking at a press conference. They're usually coming from unforeseen things. Police, natural disasters, war zones. Usually, the people you're covering don't willfully put you at risk. And it's not only the fact that they are reckless. The sheer subtle fascism. I don't think a lot of people noticed, and Jen rightly called Rudy Giuliani on this. First thing out of his mouth when Jen asked the question, what fake news outlet are you? So it's not only that they're actively just risking journalists. They actively are trying to harm journalists. The reputation of, and I consider us far different than some of the other journalists in the room. But let's just, for argument's sake, group us all as one. We're all journalists, right? They might not be the type of journalists we believe you deserve, but they put out stories, they cover things, whatever. The fact that your go-to visceral reaction is, what fake news outlet are you with? What fake news outlet are you? I'm not going to wear a mask, but you still have to come and listen to my fucking conspiracy theories? And the devil's advocate would say, well, Jordan, nobody forced Jen to. Nobody's forcing you to go to these things. You don't have to. Well, I don't know. Yeah, you're right. Nobody's forcing us. But who's going to challenge an attempted coup d'etat of democracy? I mean, I'm not a fan of Joe Biden. We're going to cover him later and the corporate Wall Street deficit douchebags he's lacing up and lining up his administration with. But at the very least, when Hillary Clinton lost the campaign, she conceded that night. She didn't have an election fraud conspiracy. Mitt Romney, who I'm not a fan of, didn't either. McCain, who I'm not a fan of, didn't either. Trump is actively having lawmakers from Michigan fly to the White House to kiss his ring to keep up this charade. You literally have the recount in Georgia. Okay, it was a hand recount. So if it's rigged, if it was rigged on the machines, they did a hand recount. Is that rigged too? Was the hand recount that just recertified Biden as the winner? Is that rigged too? Is Venezuela hacking into the hand recount? Is China hacking into the... I mean, this is more batshit than the Russiagate conspiracy theory. This is more batshit than name your conspiracy theory that's really batshit. And by the way, Jen is the queen of conspiracy theories. She reads this shit like nobody's business. Some conspiracy theories are true. And you still have progressive channels. Yes, let's name them by name. Convo Couch. These other, who I happen to like Fiorella. But they're out to lunch on this. Just standing in their, stuck in their tracks. Stubborn as hell. Won't admit they're wrong. This is absurd. And by the way, if you're a progressive, you're actually helping Biden by actually fixating and focusing on this bullshit conspiracy that's not based in reality. Rudy Giuliani did not cite one piece of evidence. His evidence was, well, people are swearing in affidavits. Yeah? You've never heard of lunatics lying under oath? It happens every day in America. So that was his evidence that he provided at this crazy press conference. But you still have progressive outlets pushing this shit. And by them pushing this shit and helping Trump and helping Rudy Giuliani, they're keeping the attention off. Right now, Biden is stacking his administration with Wall Street vultures, with congressmen that take the most oil and gas of anybody in Congress and have ignored their constituents in Louisiana who are living in Cancer Alley. I'm talking about you, Cedric Richmond. He's potentially naming Janet Yellen as Treasury Secretary from the Federal Reserve, another neoliberal hack. Michelle Flournoy. Yes, we're woke. We're going to name the first female defense secretary who's been on the wrong side of every war and loves war, and has been part of the revolving door, Jen, of defense contractors and government. The fact that Jen and I are willing to take calculated risks, meaning I'm willing to go to a Trump super spreader event outside where nobody's wearing masks. I'm wearing a mask. I'm sanitizing this and that, and I'll let the chips fall where they fall. I have to separate from my wife when I do these things because she understandably wants me to go get a test when I get home before we reunite. Her parents are a little older, doesn't want me, if I have it again and don't know it and pass it on. Jen now has to quarantine from her kids. Her kids are understandably freaked out that she might have it. And who suffers the consequences? By the way, Axios reported Rudy Giuliani and the other fucking hacks that spoke at this press conference yesterday didn't go to the White House today for Trump's meeting with these feckless Michigan lawmakers who Trump is trying to, I guess, even though it's irreversible at this point, he's trying to get Michigan lawmakers to fight the certification in Michigan. So Rudy Giuliani and these lawyers had enough fucking respect not to go to the White House today because there was COVID. They've been around someone with COVID, i.e. Rudy Giuliani's son. So they follow science in that regard. They were around somebody who's COVID positive, so they won't go to the White House. But they can't indulge in the tyranny of wearing a mask. They can't hold a press conference outside instead of in a corner of the RNC. Don't think that wasn't intentional. Don't think the RNC couldn't have done it outside. So, by the way, to the detriment of Status Coup. I mean, frankly, we grow subscribers by covering Trump's batshit conspiracy theories. We grow subscribers by covering his rallies. And we don't just do it for the clicks and the subscribers. We think it's important to show you the exploding white supremacy movement in this country, the exploding conspiracy movement in this country. Now, what seems to be a brewing effort at a coup, I don't know. But we're not going to do it anymore because journalists should no longer cover these people because they don't respect they don't care if we live or die. And that's really what it is. That's what it is. And frankly, I don't wish Rudy gets COVID, but it would be good karma because he fucking deserves it. And the other people up there deserve it. And at this point, if there was, there is no justice in this country, but if there was, some of these people need to start getting criminal charges for reckless endangerment. Politicians who refuse to wear a mask, this fucking fakakta governor of South Dakota. South Dakota is, I think, number 1 or 2 right now in cases. She's still with her culture war. No masks for us. We'd rather die than the tyranny of masks. The North Dakota governor, who's a conservative, as red as they come, he finally put in a mask mandate. And a sheriff, as I covered the other day, is saying, to hell with your mandate, governor. I'm going to blow you off. This is, by the way, this is not about, being pro-Biden versus anti-Trump. We got plenty of time to go after Joe Biden. But this is not about even politics. It's not even about anything. It's about life and death. I don't want to freak Jen out, but I had coronavirus. It could go either way. It could go either way. We don't know why certain people my age die from it and certain people live. There's been studies and cases that people with very strong immune systems who are athletes have died. So I'm hoping Jen doesn't get it, and we don't need to go there yet. But there are going to be some people in that room that contract coronavirus. It's just the odds are very, very bad. And the reason is because Rudy Giuliani wanted to stand up there for an hour and 45 minutes and make his money and kiss the ring of Donald Trump. Because part of why they're doing this is because they're following their leader, and Trump doesn't want them wearing masks. I think it's disgusting. I think it's beyond selfish. It's evil. Would you actively... Rudy Giuliani, by the way, he's not a stupid man. If you live in New York, he actually, before he started sucking Trump's beep, he was a pretty smart guy. I don't agree with him politically, but he's a smart guy. He actually took on the mob in New York, and he won when he was an attorney before mayor. He knows that masks reduce the risk. I know Boris. I used to book him when I was at Fox. That's tall Russian doofus who was standing there. He fucking knows. And Boris has kids. A lot of these people have kids, and they're willing to risk their kids' lives and their lives for what? I don't know if it's confirmed. There's been reports Rudy's asking for 20 grand a month for this show. He's ranting yesterday. Dead people voted. Children voted, he says. Venezuela is in on it. China is in on it. And by the way, what Rudy and Trump is doing is very damaging for progressives because there actually is legitimate election fraud in this country. We saw it in 2016. We've seen it in 2020. It fucks progressives mostly. The Democratic Party is in on it. So if Jen and I in the next midterm or the next local race or the next presidential uncover election fraud, it's going to be dismissed because of Rudy, because of all these idiots. It's outrageous, and I think the media needs to stop covering these events, frankly. Let them rant into the wind. Anything I missed?
No, I mean, I think your rant is well placed, and I'm furious. I feel like my health has been put at risk on purpose, and everybody in that room. By the way, when we entered that space, we gave our names and our phone numbers. Our temperatures were checked. I don't know if Rudy's team's temperatures were checked. And also, that's been proven to not be an effective way at all of detecting whether someone has COVID or not. Because someone can be, what do they? I think they say like you're most you pass it to others like for 2 to 3 days before you have symptoms and the 2 to 3 days after you start to show symptoms. So like the temperature check thing, whatever. But so they have all of the journalists, all of everybody's phone numbers. I've been looking at my phone all day since they announced that Andrew Giuliani has COVID. They've announced, we're taking all the precautions. We're notifying everybody. No, they're not notifying everybody. They didn't say specifically from that presser. I assume they're talking about the White House people that he works around. But hello, he was just at a press conference that lasted for an hour and 45 minutes or more. And they haven't notified any of us. And these are press people who I assume are paying attention to the news because that's what press people do. But it is upon them to contact every single one of us and make sure that everybody knows that they need to be quarantining. In some cases, these are photographers who make their money. They might work for AP one day, National Geographic the next day, Newsweek the next day. So in some cases, these photographers might just keep on going with their jobs because that's what they have to do. And now more people are infected. So this is a very, very dangerous thing. And I'm horrified that they're not doing the contact tracing or they're not taking that next step of notification. I'm horrified that Andrew Giuliani most likely knew that he had symptoms yesterday. I'm horrified that Rudy Giuliani was a sweaty mess yesterday, blowing his nose, wiping it all over his face, wiping it all over his head, like dripping whatever he was dripping, his hair dye. It was disgusting. It obviously took over the internet. Everyone thought it was hilarious. However, he may have COVID. I'm disgusted that we were all pushed on top of each other. I'm disgusted that his entire maskless QAnon MAGA team walked right by us. They all brushed my shoulder. I'm horrified by the entire thing, and I'm affected by it. Like, it's not all about me. There are so many people in that room all doing their jobs, but I shouldn't be in this position. These are very simple things. Have it outside instead of inside. Wear a mask. Make it so that we can social distance. You could have still spewed your bullshit and talked your conspiracy theories outside. No harm done, except for, the overthrow of democracy. It didn't have to be this way. I am horrified. I'm disgusted. I also want to mention that I was contacted actually by Inside Edition, who said we want to do, we're doing a story on the fact that all these journalists were in this room and what you guys are doing to quarantine, and what you think about the fact that Andrew Giuliani has, had COVID and attended this press conference. So I'm hoping. So I did end up doing like snippets of my thoughts on that, and my thoughts on Rudy's really insane and hinge response to my questions. So I'm hoping that that airs, and I'm hoping that more people pay attention to this, because it's not okay. And I think that not enough attention is being paid to the fact that this happened. I haven't really seen many raise a fuss about this. I mean, Maggie Haberman like mentioned it a little bit. Most people are talking about the fact that Andrew Giuliani was like at the Rose Garden thing last Friday, but this just happened, and this can't continue. I mean, there's so much going on in the news, but they can't continue to do this. It's a complete nightmare. I don't even know what to say.
And by the way, one last thing, and Jen Collins asking for a code, if you could send it to him.
Okay.
One last thing. I don't want to speak for Jen, but I'll speak for me, because I think Jen got the same dirty look from the journalists in the crowd yesterday that I got when I dare. I've gotten a few times, but when I dared challenge, Donna Brazil years ago, and when I've challenged politicians in other areas, when the journalists look at you like you've got four heads, and what are you doing? You're not actually supposed to challenge them. That's just PR. We don't actually really challenge them. You're just supposed to pretend that we're adversarial. Jen described it that they were looking at her like, what are you doing? Like, blah, blah, blah. No. She actually shamed you fuckers. Like, the toughest question I heard at this press conference, aside from Jen, was like, why aren't you asking for a recount in Wisconsin? It's like, why are you even, as a journalist, why are you even entertaining this nonsense? They're literally ranting, claiming that Venezuela and China might be in on this cabal. Why are none of you asking the simple question, wait a minute, when Trump won by the same electoral margin, 306 to 232, last time, you're telling me that there was no fraud then when Trump won 4 years ago? Venezuela and China weren't in this cabal 4 years ago? There was no, election observers were able to watch 4 years ago? There was no fuckery 4 years ago because Trump won, but all of a sudden now, all of these things into the biggest conspiracy we've seen? That's what's going on? It's funny. It's funny to me. And we get it. They all, honestly, I don't even blame the actual journalists sitting there, because it's way above them. If they did what Jen did, they would be fired, because the outlets that they work for are about access. They don't want to lose access, and they don't want to rock the boat, because if they rock the boat, then they're going to lose a lot of their sources who leak them lies. Because most journalists in D.C., when they break news, it's literally just regurgitating what politicians or intelligence officials tell them, and they don't actually vet whether any of it's true. They just pass it off as breaking news. That's what CNN does. That's what MSNBC does. That's basically what goes on. So,
yeah, I felt like I was in the Twilight Zone. It's like, what are we I wanted to turn to all of these journalists and say, what are we doing? These people, like, they probably won't be successful. Like, most likely, that I highly doubt that they'll be successful. They're a bunch of lunatics, but here they are spewing literal QAnon, like Sidney Powell, that robotic looking woman. She's literally spewing QAnon conspiracy theories. She's a very, very hardcore QAnon conspiracy theorist, very hardcore. And she's standing up there talking about these conspiracy theories. You guys are just sitting there with your notepads, and Rudy is just literally saying lie after lie after lie. Nothing out of his mouth is true, nothing. And then you guys are like, okay, when's your lawsuit coming in Wisconsin? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? How can you, like, how is that your question? It doesn't make it makes I'm like it's a total brain disconnect. I couldn't like fire me CNN. I don't care. I'm going to ask a real question. Like, what are you talking about, Rudy? You have lost your mind. It's insane to me. And Brian Karam today, like of Playboy, like kudos to Playboy. Today he said, "When are you going to stop lying?" to Kayleigh McEnany in the first presser she's done in the White House since October 1st. Unbelievable.
Thank you, Jacqueline DeBoo. 100 pounds in the super chat. Jacqueline,
Woohoo!
always supporting us from across the pond. She writes, just because Hart, from a rather demoralized old, is that a bird? Or I don't know what.
A bat.
Oh, it's a cat? Sorry, my eyesight.
A bat.
Oh, you're not old. You're as young as you feel. Thank you so much, Jacqueline.
We love you.
Thanks for the other super chats. I think, hold on. Did I miss one?
I have them.
I guess Epoch, $5. Your persistence inspires. And can I just say, folks, before I air the Standing Rock interview, I don't usually beg, but I'm going to beg. Please, 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 if you can, donate to our GoFundMe or sign up as a member for the simple reason, until we get our membership back up, because we've lost so many members due to this website hacking, we're down thousands of dollars in revenue a month. If we don't make some of that up, like, I'm not trying to be dramatic, but the reality is we're going to have a hard time even traveling if we don't make up some of this money. We've lost a ton of revenue because our website was hacked. We have started individually reaching out to members that we believe were wrongly made inactive, but this is a long process. You know how emails go. It might go to spam. They might not be opening it. So please, if you can, I understand it's tough times for everybody, but if you have the means, please drop it in our GoFundMe. We really would appreciate it. We'll get back to Rudy in a bit because I still have more to say. But I wanted to air this today. It's even the interview I just did is raw. Like, you literally will see my actual green screen, without the graphic, because Colin hasn't had time to put in the actual animation yet. But you know, we try to follow, obviously, what's going on in D.C. and elections and pandemic, but I think what Status Coup is known for, beyond anything else, is covering what everyone else is kind of covering up. So, you know, I've tried as best I can to keep up with anything going on with the Standing Rock Sioux tribe, with Native Americans in general. They've obviously become just devastated with coronavirus, not just Standing Rock, but other tribes. Navajo Nation per capita has been affected more than any other state, Navajo Nation out west. But I was starting to hear from sources that Dakota Access Pipeline, who, by the way, a federal court recently ruled that they had illegally built that pipeline, that they didn't do the proper environmental impact study, that they had to stop the flow of oil in 30 days. What did they say? Yeah, we're just going to blow you off. Because these oil companies know, judges could say whatever, but the real bosses are the politicians, and they bought off the politicians. So this company literally said, to hell with the judge, we're going to keep building. And I have found out that they are now illegally, without a permit, starting to build the expansion, because Dakota Access Pipeline decided a few months ago they want to expand this ticking time bomb underneath the longest river in America, the Missouri River, that's already leaked God knows how many times, that haven't been reported, that is damaging Standing Rock Sioux tribe's water, land, animals, air. So I caught up with LaDonna Brave Bull Allard. She was one of the leaders, I'd say, of the tribe. When everybody was there in 2016 and 2017. She was known for Sacred Stone Camp, which was down there in Cannonball. She actually has been sick herself, which you'll find out. But I wanted to find out what is going on there, because obviously the oil company will happily build without a permit, because they know the media is not going to cover it. They know nobody but the Native Americans are actually watching what they're doing. They know that the courts might give them a fine, but that's it. No one's going to go to jail for them illegally building without a permit. So here's my interview with LaDonna. I would suggest getting a tissue, because there's a few moments that are tough. But here's an update on what's going on, not only with the Standing Rock Sioux tribe, but with Dakota Access Pipeline illegal expansion without a permit.
Hey, it's Jordan. Delighted to be joined with an old friend, LaDonna Brave Bull Allard, leader back at the Standing Rock pipeline protests, member of Standing Rock Sioux tribe. And I haven't spoken with you in a while, but there's still, believe it or not, efforts to get this pipeline out of the ground. There's still efforts to stop the owner of the pipeline from doing very, very risky, dangerous things that are affecting your tribe. A lot of it hasn't been covered because of the pandemic, but you're still in court. And there's also obviously the pandemic, which has been disproportionately affecting Native Americans on your reservation and other reservations. But first, I wanted to start because many people might not know, they remember you from Sacred Stone Camp, but you have had your own serious health problem that is now, thankfully, seems to be improving a little bit.
So I had a glioblastoma tumor, brain tumor, which are inoperable. And they are one of the most aggressive types of brain tumors. As people might remember, John McCain had this type of brain tumor. And then they told me I had stage 5 brain cancer. I never even heard of stage 5. And I had no effects. I had no, other than I started falling down and couldn't walk. With that, DAPL is still happening. With that, we are still to this day, drones in our yards and following us. We keep a vigilant on both sites. They have started construction without a construction permit again. Right now we're documenting and photographing everything that's going on around us.
What are they constructing?
They're constructing the DAPL expansion pipeline.
While the original Dakota Access Pipeline is still in court, and potentially Biden has not said yes or no to whether he would allow it to continue, but it's been in courts and there have been some victories for the tribe, yet the company is building, you're saying, without a permit, the expansion.
Again, so with that, we are trying to follow the law. Oh, wait, I said that at the beginning. All we want is for America to follow their own laws. We're not asking for anything else, just follow the law. So then we won in court that said, yes, Dakota Access Pipeline did not have a permit to build. Yes, Dakota Access Pipeline illegally built. Yes, Dakota Access Pipeline created human violations. Yes, Dakota Access Pipeline misused federal funds. We can go on. The list is long.
Desecrated your ancestors' burial grounds, privately surveilled you, worked with the FBI, Homeland Security to infiltrate the camp. I mean, the list is long.
The list is very long. But I want to say this much with all of this process of seeing the real America. What I also seen is some of the best people in the whole world. I have met more good people than I have met bad people. And for me, it's able to separate that in my mind to understand corporations are not people.
Absolutely. And in terms of them building, already starting the expansion, I assume that members of your tribe have seen them starting to dig, man camps. What have you seen in terms of how have you seen that they're already building?
So we've been watching nonstop. we are photographing, we are videotaping, we are recording.
Water's down. So they lowered the water so they could do that.
Oh, yeah. And of course, the Army Corps of Engineer has dropped the water level so low, they're beyond drought level so that
Wow.
they can construct. That's devastating to us and our water. So right now in this whole process, it's been a fight. We went to Linton, North Dakota to give comment on the Dakota Access Pipeline. We came in ceremony and in prayer. We made sandwiches for the community and coffee for everybody who was there. They brought out the National Guard, the police, they shut down the schools. It was just like trying to strike up a fear where there is no fear. Trying to cause division where there is no division.
Right.
I have really good friends on the east side who are just as worried about their water and their land and what's happening over there with Dakota Access Pipeline. So our allies are all taking pictures. We're taking pictures. I told record license plates of trucks, record everything, because media is the most important tool we have.
And we've talked before, a lot of people feel like, okay, a couple of years ago, everybody left the camps and that was it. But you and other tribe members have experienced unmarked cars following you, and basic surveillance that you believe is from the oil company itself that owns.
So I will say that the camp didn't end for us. Sacred Stone's still standing. We still have people here. When the National Guard in the state of South Dakota brought in the police and shut people down, we moved them each to our homeland. So like I had like 200 people in my yard, my daughter, we put people up wherever we could. And so it took maybe 6 months for people to slowly go. And for Sacred Stone, we have had people here nonstop. So we started doing education classes, plants, medicines, how to butcher. We've been doing those kind of classes, having ceremonies still as an entity. And we're registered in the state of North Dakota as an LCC Sacred Stone.
Mm. And, to me, what must be very scary for you and your relatives is it's not like the oil company is going to be honest if there's been spills. You really have no way to know how many leaks have there been. I mean, there's been a few reported, but this is not exactly an oil company that's been great with transparency. Obviously, North Dakota is the second largest oil producer in the country. So if there's been leaks in the Missouri River or onto your land, you wouldn't know about all of them, would you?
Well, my mama didn't raise no redheaded stepchild, and I wasn't born yesterday, and I never, ever trusted them. And after 2016, seeing what they can be reduced to, no, I will watch them every moment of every day of the rest of their lives. They will remember my name at their gravesite. No, I will not stop until Dapple's pipes are out of my ground. If I have to go out and dig them up myself. Oh, and we got shovels and we can do it.
And can you kind of talk about, a lot of people might not realize, but years later, the tribe has been negatively affected. There were economic ramifications, loss in revenue to hotels, casinos, boycotts from other parts of North Dakota that didn't want to come. Can you kind of talk about how has the tribe been affected by this years later?
Oh, I told people that my people are below poverty. We've always struggled. Then the camps. After the camps and all the people left, we were double below poverty. We had people living in homes with no electricity, with no food. There was a grandiose idea. No offense, I'm going to say bad things. But all of these people came, they raised money to come here, and they took their money with them. There was nobody that made any money on Standing Rock. In fact, I was just talking to a couple of guys, and I was like, we're still driving the same vehicles, and we're still breaking them down. And all these people think we have some kind of money or anything. We're still feeding people, but we feed people on what we got. I think what happened at Standing Rock was supposed to happen. It was not the beginning or the end. It was just a little seed to show us what we can do. And I truly believe that's going to grow as we see in the coming months. We in America are in a broken system. And personally, as a Native person, I'm not quite sure it was ever not broken. But I truly believe that in this day and time, to get everybody to sit down at the table and talk to each other would be so amazing. To figure out how we fix these problems. A lot of the problems are simple. It's about justice. You commit a crime, you go to jail for the crime. Not, oh, maybe we thought you committed a crime, so we kill you. That's kind of how American justice has been. And for Indian people, you know, you're brown, you don't want to be stopped by the cops. What kind of system is that? That's something broken that needs to be fixed. And so we need to fix these. How do we do that? For me, it's finding a purpose for young people. One of the things that listening to all the young people at camp, what they told me was it gave them purpose. It gave them the idea of, this is who I am. These are my songs, my dance, my ceremony, my way of life. It was a centering, a grounding. And I think we need that centering and grounding with our young people if we're going to go forward and repair, because we do have to repair one way or another.
And you know what? Could you update the audience where things stand in the courts? Because I know you guys are now challenging not just the original pipeline, but them putting in new pump stations for this expansion.
So right now with the original pipeline, we won in court that says the pipeline must be taken out of the ground. Then we won in court that the pipeline was illegal because they didn't have an environmental impact statement. And there has to be a completed environmental impact statement before any permits or permission or privileges for that pipeline should have been authorized. So they're in court with that. So then we want for them to remove the pipe. But we know. So then they put out a press release saying they refuse the court order. And then the court says they can't refuse the court order. Still weighing that out. So who has more power in America, Supreme Court or corporations? And if you don't know the answer, that's why you need to fix your nation.
And now, from the evidence you guys are developing with photos and surveillance, even though the original pipeline is still very much in legal, a blurry legal situation, they're already building the expansion because it seems to me they know what's the worst that's going to happen. They're going to be fined. Nobody's going to go to jail because nobody ever goes to jail from a bank or an oil company.
Right. So we're put in a lot of positions, you know, as Native people. 528 years we have been going through this. Nothing has changed. But yet we are still here with our hand saying, come, sit down and talk with me. Come, I'll feed you. I'll help you. And I don't know how we can change who we are. The young people talked to me a while ago. They came to my house and they said, Grandma, we have this thing inside of us. And I said, well, what is it? He said, we call it the red rage now. And I said, oh, I know. I feel it too. I am doing everything in my power not to let it consume me. But there's this thing that connects us so close to the earth that hurts us so bad when you hurt anything to the earth. And I don't understand it. I don't understand why this grief inside me for the water exists. I don't understand. And I do have a bit of red rage because I wouldn't be sitting here with a glioblastoma tumor if Kelsey Warren didn't give the command to spray us with rat poison.
The owner of Energy Transfer Partners, the CEO.
Yes. And so there are, I think, 200 of us dead. It is abnormal to have so many strains of cancer in one tiny spot.
And that's all since the pipeline protests.
It is all since they sprayed us.
Wow.
And it was really good that when they were spraying us, I was standing with somebody with the UN's official investigating, so they sprayed her too.
And there were, I mean, it was never confirmed, but most people at the camp said they were spraying with chemical agents.
We got pictures, documents, medical records. We took samples. We took samples of the dead animals, and there were many. And then, of course, Mr. Miller, who owns a Cannibal Ranch, is now serving terms. He got convicted twice since the closing of the camp for killing animals with rat poison.
Wow.
And the first killing was in 2015 and 2016.
Wow. And can I ask you, obviously, you mentioned you're already at poverty levels there. Then after the No DAPO movement, things got worse. Can you kind of talk about the coronavirus? We know it's ravaging North Dakota, South Dakota right now. You see out west of you, it's devastated other tribes. How has this affected your tribe, Standing Rock Sioux?
So we're in a red zone. I can't leave my house. I could not go to any of my relatives' funerals. And I had 9 now that died. And right now, remember I said this little red rage? I want to throat punch anybody who says anything against masks. Or maybe a little lower. I can't even talk to anybody. And thanks to Josh and everybody, they've kept this whole area. We smudge every day. We isolate. We make everybody wear masks unless they come into the house. We have disinfectant by the door. And if you don't have the food, you don't eat. There have been somebody, I don't know who exactly, has been bringing in some food to Standing Rock, but not everybody gets it, and there's never enough. But they have no emergency plan. So, and there are no beds open in this part of the state.
What I find infuriating, really, and I saw this the other day, I don't know if you did, there's a sheriff in McKenzie County who is refusing the North Dakota governor's mandate for mask wearing, citing the Constitution. Well, I don't know. I was at Standing Rock on and off for 6 months. I was there in 2016 and 2017. The police seemed very, very okay with tossing away the constitutional rights of Native Americans and environmental activists. But now they refuse to wear a mask, citing the Constitution. So it seems to hell with the Constitution for you, but for white people who are crazy and don't want to wear a mask, we have to protect them.
So I seen a sign in Bismarck, North Dakota that said, "Mask up, North Dakota." And I thought, are they talking to me? I finally won. I can mask up again. Oh, we really like the mask up. Like I said, I'm at the throat punching page, so if they don't, sons don't even let them come near my car because I can't even go grocery shopping. The virus.
And I assume you haven't seen I assume you haven't been able to see your grandchildren.
Well, my grandchildren all moved to Hawaii. So, and my great-grandchildren, they're all in Hawaii. They're all safe. And they're all doing really good.
Good.
I'm glad they're not here.
And do you have a message for President-elect Joe Biden, who hasn't really given a firm answer on what he would do about the Dakota Access Pipeline? He's taken a lot of money from banks and oil companies. He says the words that he takes climate change seriously. What's your message to him regarding not just the Dakota Access Pipeline, but actually investing in communities like Standing Rock?
Well, I think we need to first invest in the world. I truly believe we are at the last leg of the buffalo, that there is no more time for chit chat and who's who and who. It is the time for action. We actually have to physically go out and pick up that garbage bag and pick up garbage. And for me, if we change life very simply, we can do it. So a man who is in a position, as we've just went through 4 years, can change things. Biden, you're standing with the first Native woman. You know our home and our land means so much to us. Do you know that if we sat down and talked to each other and shared history, we could make this land even more beautiful? Do you know if we became friends, we could make a better world for everybody? And I pray that you choose to have an Indigenous person in every one of your committees. That's what I ask, to have a voice.
And lastly, if you don't mind sharing, I think a lot of people need hope right now. Can you share what your doctor told you when they went in for surgery? Because it seems like you are one in a million. You had this, what they said was inoperable brain tumor. And what did he find and what did he tell you?
So I have glioblastoma brain tumor. It's the most aggressive, evasive brain tumor, inoperable. And I didn't even know I had anything wrong with me, and I fell down in my house. So they took me to the hospital and took me in. And he said, I should have died. He said, when I woke up, I shouldn't wake up. when I was alive 2 days, they said I shouldn't be here. He said when he opened my head, the tumor was sitting in the weird stuff. Anyway, so he's able to remove it. And then he was able to remove all the cancer. And so when I woke up talking. So honestly, I woke up talking like 2 hours later, and he said, "You shouldn't be talking." And I said, "But I talk all the time." And he said, "Try to rest. We just opened your brain and we took a tumor out." And I was like, "Okay, but I don't know why I shouldn't talk." Anyway, he said, "You're 1 in a million. There is no way you should have survived this surgery. There is no way I should have been able to remove that tumor." He said, "You're an anomaly. You're 1 in a million. Don't waste a minute of your life." And I said, "I never have. The treatments get me a little, the chemo and radiation, but I'm almost done." And they asked me, "Well, what? Are you going to die?" Heck no, I don't want to die yet. I'm just not taking over the world. Hope. Never once did I feel like anything was going to happen. I knew everything was going to be all right. I also still truly believe in prayer, and all of the people who stood up to pray for me across the world, I give thanks to. But in this time, they gave us this time to change things, to make things better. We have to grab this time. So I think they gave me a bigger mouth to say more stuff, because we have to find a bridge, a thing to stand together. We have to re-identify who we are as people. And they're not going to do it themselves. They have to sit down and they have to talk to each other. So, to Biden, put Indigenous people on your committees. Put the voice out. Don't make us invisible, because we only want what's good for all the people.
Well, thank you so much, as always, LaDonna. Very inspiring. And I think this oil company has a lot to deal with if they're going to continue to have to deal with someone like you. And I look forward, when times are better, I hope to return to Standing Rock and report on what is still actively going on there. So thank you so much.
Hope you enjoyed that last video. Hop on over to statuscoup.com, where you can sign up for our email list and become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. Membership is how we grow. That's statuscoup.com/join. And remember, join our email list so we can grow the revolution with you. How's that for a tearjerker?
Wow.
So that was LaDonna Brave Bull Allard. She is one of the elders in the Standing Rock Sioux tribe. If you remember from the movement a couple years ago, she was down there often. She was the leader of Sacred Stone Camp, which was one of the camps that water protectors stayed at. And I think that in addition to sharing the just unfortunately unsurprising news that Dakota Access Pipeline is building without a permit currently, and I'm working on getting photos and videos so we could show that they are building. They are building without a permit their expansion of the pipeline, because a couple months ago they announced that they wanted to expand the pipeline. I think she revealed a few things. Number one, that the oil company has continued surveilling Native Americans.
Well, hold on, Jordan. Before you get into like the nuts and bolts of like what's happening, I think we all need to take a moment. That was really incredible. I think it was a tearjerker. It was really powerful, and I think I don't know. I think obviously she's like a very sweet woman with really powerful words to say and lessons for us all. And her story needs to, like, everybody needs to hear her story. But I also want to say, like, major kudos to you, because the way that you did that interview, and the way that you pulled and interacted with her, like, that was a really powerful interview. That was really good.
Jen, I get the sense you've been crying.
I have. I've really been crying.
Don't ruin my street cred.
Yeah, it was really
Don't ruin my street cred that I care for people.
It was really, really, really well done.
Well,
good job.
And I think Jen has asked me in the past, just to drop the veil, like, how do you keep your cool? How do you not show emotion? I don't know if it's a good thing, to tell you the truth. It might be an unhealthy thing. But I think over the course of 5-6 years of doing this all over the place, I've kind of become a little numb to all this injustice and misery. It probably isn't a good thing. I do have my moments where I get emotional. I've teared up a few times in Flint. But I think I've become numb because I'm just so mission focused. Not that people who show emotion aren't, but I think I have kind of become numb because my main emotion is not really sadness, it's anger. It's anger that an oil company continues to get away with this. It's anger that, frankly, the mainstream media won't touch it, but the oil company and the private security contractors that were working for it were spraying the camps with chemicals. I mean, that did happen. I was, right-wingers said it's a conspiracy theory. No, I was there. There was stuff coming from the air. I don't know what caused LaDonna's cancer or other people's cancers, but I do know they were spraying chemicals because I was there. And yeah, I think I've just, I don't know why, figured out a way to become numb. Maybe it's the antidepressants. I don't really know. But
well, I remember one time in Flint, I just broke down crying, and I said, "How do you not cry?" And you said, "I did my crying in 2016 or something like that." Like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had some moments in East Chicago and other places, Flint, Standing Rock, that I don't know if I think for me it's less tears and more just feeling beaten down. The weight of all of this really wears on me, the things we cover. And I think for me it's less tears and sometimes pessimism that what we're doing actually makes a difference. Because it doesn't feel like it makes a difference because they continue to get away with putting these pipelines through. They continue to get away with stealing elections. They continue to get away with covering up the Flint water crisis. They continue getting away with not making the people of Flint whole, or as whole as they're ever going to be. So sometimes I think I get down because I feel like as much as we're trying, we're not actually putting anyone in jail yet. We're not actually giving them clean water. We're not actually doing those things. And then I remember that we're not magicians, but what we're doing matters because we might not be able to affect the direct result yet, but it is something, and it does matter to wake more people up to what's going on. And that makes me happy. But I remember, I think I was at the Young Turks, and it was 2016, and I was on the road in, Texas, like West Texas, bumblefuck. And I was there on Christmas, and I'm a Jew. I mean, Christmas doesn't matter to me, but it was still the holidays, and you're away. And I was covering the Trans-Pecos pipeline, which was another Energy Transfer Partners pipeline. Same company that owns Dakota Access was ramming a pipeline in West Texas, and even conservatives were pissed off because their land was being stolen. And I just remember being in my hotel and kind of lonely. I was single at the time, and I'm away during the holidays, and I'm just like, why am I even doing this? Nobody, I mean, yeah, we're like, people are watching it on the Young Turks channels, but nobody even knows about this. Nobody cares. Nobody cares that this company literally lied to the federal government. They were literally digging the pipeline under the Rio Grande to go in Mexico. Literally building a pipeline in America to go under the border into Mexico, which is blatantly illegal. They had no permission to do that. And yeah, there's moments where I just feel like this is all thankless. Even though the subscribers are going up and we get praised, but the end result of I want to put people in jail, I want to deliver some justice for these communities. It sucks when that doesn't happen, and the weight of the world. Sometimes I don't, I try not, you might think I have an ego, but I try to keep it in check and not think of myself as too big for my bridges. But it's frustrating to me because all of this, I mean, I think I was at Standing Rock 7 times. I think I've been to Flint 16 times. And sometimes, as much as I'm proud of it, we broke a story a couple months ago on Flint. And what's happened since? People read it. It kind of got buried under the pandemic. But they still don't have clean water. They're still sick. They still don't have Medicare for all. Politicians that should be in jail are still not. But yeah, I think that's kind of my reaction. It's less crying and more just feeling beaten down. But I also think that, and again, to be clear, certainly not comparing Jenna Rye to Erin Brockovich or anybody else, but I'm sure Erin Brockovich at first, when doors were getting shut in her face and nobody was listening to her, and lawyers weren't listening to her, media wasn't listening to her. Plenty of people that have made change probably spent God knows how long, years, feeling like they're getting nowhere, and then all of a sudden, pop, things happen. So, yeah, but when I talked to LaDonna, I can't confirm it. I don't have proof, but I would think that stage 5 brain tumor, after being at that camp and, chemicals being sprayed, my guess would be it's somewhat related. And all the people that have died, that she was talking about, her relatives that have died. I don't know if they died of COVID. I don't know if they died due to being at the camp, due to the air pollution on the reservation. We don't know how many leaks there have been from Dakota Access that might be affecting their water. But I'm not going to lie to the audience. Sometimes, not that I consider it not doing this, but sometimes you feel like you're just kind of on this endless hamster wheel and you're not getting anywhere. Also, when, frankly, Jen and I have talked about this, but it's just a fight to even get our own people, our own progressive journalists, to pay attention to the stories we cover. We expect corporate media not to pay attention, but it's frustrating when even corporate outlets are too busy, whatever they're pushing, whatever hashtags they're pushing, these people on social media with big followings, it's often pulling teeth to get them to share this stuff. And, all I know is we've been doing this for nearly 3 years. We're almost at 100,000 subscribers. We've probably had more obstacles than any other outlet I know. I mean, frankly, if you want to know the truth, TYT was floated for many years by Cenk's father. That's just the truth. In the early days when they were struggling, his father helped them. His father helped the company significantly. Other outlets have had significantly more in the ways of investment than we've had. We were shut down from YouTube for 3 months last year when we couldn't go live. Almost killed us. Our website was just hacked. And we've lost, I'll show it again. We've lost that many members since April. And the tech team that we've assembled are telling us that they believe at least 200 to 300 members we've lost are not actually members who canceled, but members who were purged. They were wrongly made inactive. And to be honest with you, Jen and I are having difficulties getting that number back up because, it's hard to get hundreds of people to reactivate. They don't read the emails we're sending yet. I don't want to be all Debbie Downer. Hopefully we'll have success. You're begging people to donate and GoFundMe, but people don't have money right now. I mean, it could all be extremely, extremely, it wears you down. I think I've aged considerably. I mean, not to mention, we don't need to relitigate, but I myself was smeared and tarnished and had horrendous. Coincidentally, when I was about to break a story on Flint in 2017, I was accused of rape and thrown under the bus by many people, and I've had to dig my career out of the ashes.
I believe strongly due to his hardcore journalism. And by the way, a lot of people don't realize that stuff still pops up. Like, I didn't even tell Jordan, like, it popped up 2 days ago. It's constant. It's like swatting flies.
Yeah. So,
2 back surgeries. Like, you've gone through so much.
Yep. And
due to journalism.
It's just people like LaDonna is why we do this. Even if we don't get the results we want yet, I think we will get results. People like LaDonna is why we do it. People in Flint are why we do it. People in, Virginia when we cover the Mountain Valley Pipeline. I think we're all in this progressive movement connected, and I think our role is to keep what has been normalized. All of this, the fact that this all has been normalized and this is all okay, keep it abnormal. I think our role is to, it might sound like a bumper sticker, I think our role is to cover and put a spotlight on what the corporate media keeps dark. Because it's intentional. Make no mistake. CNN, MS, New York Times, people with, you're talking hundreds of millions of dollars additional resources than we have. New York Times, borderline billion. They could have people in every state in the country. They could have reporters covering every fucking tribe. All, Black Lives Matter extensively, not just protests, everyday stuff. Latinos, they could do it all. And I think, 75% of the messages I get from people, I'm sure you get them too, Jen, is like our local media is ignoring this. Our local media is actually pushing the propaganda that the corporations are saying. So the best we could do is just to stay angry, but it is depressing. And, I think what's more depressing is, seeing press conferences like yesterday where you actually do, like, no offense, but I shouldn't get a gold star and you shouldn't get a gold star. What you did yesterday is what every journalist should be doing, but no one does.
Absolutely. I am baffled that people don't. It's just, that's what we're supposed to do, right? It's ridiculous.
Right.
That people don't, that journalists don't. Well, honestly, I think that interview, we do a lot of different types of things. We do investigative journalism, infield journalism. The interview that you just did with LaDonna is just, I think, really something special. And I think, once we'll publish it tomorrow, and Colin's gonna, I think, put stuff in the background on Jordan's green screen and stuff. And I think it's really going to impact people who are looking for people in this time need something. And here they'll see LaDonna, who's gone through so much with her family, and you heard her talking about her grandchildren and herself, and the fact that she's literally 1 in a million. But her spirit, you feel her spirit and her heart through the screen, and her hope and her drive to do better. She says, you go out, you pick up the trash, you go make a difference in this world. People could be curled up, people who've gone through what she's gone through could be curled up in a ball, given up on the world, just terrified of the world, mad at the world, whatever. But she's determined to still make a difference, as she's done her whole life, to make her mark on this world, to leave it a better place. I think she's remarkable, and I think that interview was really remarkable. So I'm excited for when we publish it, and I think it's going to touch a lot of people, because people in this dark time of Trump and Giuliani and COVID and just so much bad news, people need that. I think it's really important. I'm glad that that's going to be on our channel. It's really a great interview.
And by the way, I want to thank Kelly Elaine while I was airing that interview. An amazing donation, $100 to our GoFundMe. Kelly, you've been incredible for now years to us. So thank you so much for that donation. It really makes a difference. I mean, the truth is, I'm just telling all of you, we got 300 watching. We've lost a lot of money. I mean, the hacking of our website and dropping 350 members, that's thousands of dollars of revenue. It's not thousands of dollars in revenue that we don't have to go to the casino. It's thousands of dollars of revenue we don't have to go to Flint or Standing Rock or name your city that the media is not covering. Obviously, Jen has to be paid. I need to be paid. Colin needs to be paid. John needs to be paid. Travel budget, advertising, equipment. We now have a tech team that we have to pay. There's a lot of expenses, and we have no bankers. And we got no fossil fuckers. And no pharma, real estate, Silicon Valley. We got no plutocrats funding us, and that's the way we want it. So it is hard. This is people-powered. So if you can donate, please do. Sign up as a member. The other thing I'll say is, for example, tomorrow, John, our cameraman, is going to cover, I don't know if you guys remember a couple of weeks ago, that I went to a public housing complex in Queens. That's a politically correct way of saying a place where poor black people live. They've had no gas at that point for 30 days. So it was getting colder. They got no gas. They can't cook hot meals. It's now, what was that, September I went? It's now almost December. They still have no gas. So there's a press conference tomorrow. John is going. I'm not going because I'm seeing my parents later in the day, and I don't want to go to a press conference where I'm around a lot of people and then go to my parents. With COVID, you got to be careful. But the truth is, we don't need to get into how much we pay John or anybody else, but, we got to pay John to go, and that live stream is probably not going to do good on YouTube. That's the truth, because it's a random, poor, black public housing complex in Queens. We're not expecting, 3,000 live viewers like we had, almost had when we were in the field on election day or anything like that. These kind of things don't generally go viral on YouTube or Twitter because they're not hot in the news and those things. So there's a lot of these things we actually lose money on. Jen and I, for years, we've basically been on these trips. Can we just break even? We'd love to get to a point where we're focusing on making profit, because we actually built this to prove that you could do this really, truly independently and be a business. But we do it and we lose money on most of these things because, frankly, what are we just going to let these people freeze to death? Should we let these people freeze to death? I mean, CNN's willing to. Even local news in New York is willing to. Should we let the people of Flint just continue to die with no justice, no health care, and still have no clean water? I mean, I think if we do that, then we're sociopaths. And I've always believed, Jen, that in the long term, when you do this, it's a tireless thing, and you're not going to make money at first. But in the long term, if you do it the right way, which I think we are, the money will come. But I don't think people realize a lot of these things. We've had people complaining, stop asking for money, this and that. I don't really think people understand truly how much all this costs. I just don't think they get how much it costs. It's like when you move into a house, right? You're blown away by the amount of bills and costs and things that need repair. It's the same thing with a media company. It's just one thing after another. So, and we haven't, we had a lot of people that wanted to be volunteers and interns. We didn't do it because legally we didn't think we could do it. That might change sooner than later. being able to use volunteers and things like that. But it's basically been Jen, myself, and the 10 additional Jen. Basically, both of us have been doing the job of 10 to 15 people for 3 years now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, all of this is important. And, I don't say this to be highbrow. I don't say this to be knock down any people in our media community and the progressive community to say what they do doesn't matter, because it does. But the bottom line is, I don't see many people, including progressives, actually spending their weekends at public housing units with gas outages. I don't see many progressives because they know it won't click. I mean, look at this live stream. Most of our live streams have been getting between 700, 800 live viewers. This one got less, probably because of the headline, frankly. But we do it anyway because it's important. And I think that I just hope people realize that, this definitely wears on us too. Just the weight of the misery in the country and the injustice.
Yeah.
And it's not a thankless task, that's for sure.
Yeah, we have a bunch of super chats to read. So
I just want to address this one thing. Dare to be Darlene. Businesses have unpaid interns all the time. Yes, but you have to go by your state law, and we are incorporated in New York, and New York is extremely, extremely strict as far as interns. You can't really do unpaid internships anymore in New York and many other states. And frankly, we wouldn't want to do. We really wouldn't want to do unpaid internships where we're giving people like real jobs that, we're progressive. We want to pay people if they're doing real work. If people are volunteering for here or there, isolated things, that's one thing. But if we're asking people to put in like 10, 15 hours a week, we don't feel right them doing it for free. But
yeah.
So go ahead.
The thing is, it can't replace what an employee would do. Like, it's very, very strict. As progressives, we wouldn't want to cross any lines. Like, we couldn't set up college credit stuff. It was a lot of, as a small operation, you also have to have the ability to manage volunteers, et cetera, et cetera. Michael, so happy Jordan didn't just disappear after all the mess with TYT. Jordan would never just disappear. He has journalism in his soul.
They tried to disappear me, that's for sure.
Richel Dios, $4.99 in the super chat. From one Black Puerto Rican brother to another Jewish brother and white sister, your journalism is liberation reporting. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you so much. Lauren Sargent, $49.99. Thank you, Lauren. That's amazing. Seilu, $9.99. Love and respect for LaDonna. Yeah, she's amazing. Lana Del hates the clock, $25. I love this woman. Yeah, LaDonna is just such an inspiration.
Jen, I have to cut in with some really infuriating breaking news.
What?
Governor Andrew Cuomo has received an Emmy Award for his coronavirus press briefings in the spring.
Are you fucking kidding me? Oh my God, that is absurd. Like, I thought him releasing a COVID book about how successfully he eradicated COVID, which he did not do, was absurd, but this is absurd.
Let me read some of it.
Oh my God.
Cuomo basked in the glow of an Emmy on Friday after learning he would receive the honor for his COVID-focused press briefings. I quote, "I thank the Academy. It's flattering. I accept it on behalf of the people of the state." Meanwhile, he killed 6,000 people in nursing homes. Yeah, let's give him an Emmy.
Oh my God.
Anyway, go on.
That's the worst.
Maybe they'll give Rudy Giuliani next.
I love how you have your hat while you announce that. This is funny. Where was I? Cheryl Tyler, $20 in super chat. She's one of the best people in the whole world, a courageous and brilliant woman. Yes, she's so, so great. I am B Jammin, $15 in the super chat saying thank you. Thank you. Kushranada, $2 in the chat. Not to mention the asystematic, aka hidden killers. I don't remember what that was in reference to, but thank you. John Howell, $4.98. Oh, switching it up in the super chat. Giants had paper towel sized big toes. I have no idea what you're talking about, but thank you. Richard Williams, $4.99 in the super chat saying hallelujah, hallelujah. Oh my gosh, I can't, that's the word, like that's terrible.
Welcome new member Benjamin. Woohoo! New Status Coup member Benjamin. So we're now at 1,545. Please keep signing up. We need to get these members back. It's the only way we could survive long term. Statuscoup.com/join. Join us for $5 a month.
Sandra, that's funny. What was the category? Fantasy. That's good. Oh, that's insane. Like that doesn't even make sense. What is the category?
I think public service or something. Hold on.
Oh my god. That's just lunacy. I can't believe this.
Quote, the governor's 111 daily briefings worked so well because he effectively created television shows with characters, plot lines, and stories of success and failure, said Bruce Paisner, president and CEO of the International Academy.
Oh.
Yeah, but he just forgot to shut down subways, trains, buses, and sent all the sick people to nursing homes and killed thousands of people. I can't wait for Chris Cuomo's CNN segment with his brother.
Oh, love those. Those are super fun.
So in America, you could get an Emmy for killing people.
Right.
Yeah.
Ship them all to the nursing homes. No big deal. It's horrible. It's
a good point.
You know, obviously, they're pushing him for what president? Probably.
It's a good point.
2024.
What's his name just mentioned? Chris said Rush Limbaugh also received the Medal of Freedom from Trump.
Well, I mean, that's more like Trump will be Trump, but this, I don't know. I don't know. It's depressing. Nina T says, thank you, Status Coup. I don't have money, but I have much appreciation for what you do. I'm a member because you speak for the voiceless. Bless you, Jordan and staff. Thank you, Nina. Historic Raider, $5 in the super chat. If Obama gets a peace prize for blowing foreign countries, then why not give Cuomo an Emmy for his acting skills? He did a great job pretending to care. Not a bad point. Oh my gosh. So you know Obama has a new book. Which is there are like so many.
Oh boy, another breaking news. Sorry.
Oh, what?
Donald Trump Jr. has coronavirus.
Oh! Little Donnie.
Hey, Donnie Jr. gets the COVID. I wonder why. His girlfriend, Kimberly Guilfoyle, had it too. Hopefully he's been around.
Oh, that's
Hopefully
right.
he's been around Trump. Yeah, Don Jr. now has COVID. Sorry for interrupting. Go ahead.
No worries. So Obama, he has, like, people are passing around excerpts of his book, and so today he said on the way to his inauguration, he was really upset that people were protesting. On the way to his inauguration, he was really upset that people were protesting W. Like that really upset him. And he was like, "This is not. They're not showing decorum." Like, no, he killed people in mass in Iraq. Like, what? He led us into a false war. What are you talking about? So that's who Obama really is. Robert Copeland, $10 in the super chat. Jordan, have you heard of the rental assistance demonstration program, which has to do with a public-private partnership to make needed repairs to public housing units?
I have not. Email us, info@statuscoup.com. I'm generally cynical about public-private anything, but I'll take a look.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
info@statuscoup.com.
So that's all the super chats that we have.
Yeah, but you know what? Honestly, I'm hate to say it, but Get your alerts ready. I'd love to see. I think a lot of people are going to be dropping like flies from that press conference you went to yesterday. I don't mean like dying.
Yeah, I think Rudy's going to get it. I think Rudy's going to get it, but I wonder if they'll announce it.
I don't know, but I pray for him and his hair dye. Because
that was so embarrassing.
What a mess. It's sad because my father, who's a deranged Trump supporter, loves Rudy Giuliani. I mean, a lot of New Yorkers love Rudy from like 9/11, and he did some photo ops after, and he reduced crime in New York.
America's mayor.
It was a lot of branding, but my father still loves him, even with this deranged lunacy. Although my father does accept the results of the election, which I was surprised about. He's not on this conspiracy train. But, yeah, Don Jr. has it. I don't know how Pence hasn't gotten it, frankly, because he's another one not wearing masks anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Pence is a robot. That's
Doesn't who's that old senator that's like 87 and just got it?
Grassley.
Oh, Grassley.
And he's third in line.
Grass is not greener on the other side, Chuck.
I wanted to mention this too. I was surprised. I've had progressives. So I posted on my Facebook I posted a video of Giuliani, like my questioning of Giuliani, and I posted why I questioned the way that I did. And I had progressives say like, no, Giuliani is right. So this goes back to what we were talking about, progressives sort of siding with the Trump team and doubling down on, no, the lawsuits are correct, and the machines are broken, and Dominion is evil. And which I'm not saying Dominion's not evil. Like, okay, let's look into it. Sure, I think that we should look into the integrity of our voting machines and be consistent in that. But that doesn't mean like this conspiracy theory with like Venezuela and communism and no, they're not like clicking and changing the votes all to Biden. Like, that's not happening. There's no evidence of that. Bring me the evidence. But I've had progressives saying like, no, Rudy is right. And so I say, no, that's literally not true. So I find this so disturbing. So just be careful out there, folks. Be careful out there. Demand evidence. If someone cannot show you evidence or says the evidence is coming or says, oh, clearly they're not going to show you the evidence, they'll only show that in court. That is a lie. That they're just trying to find ways to not show you anything because they literally do not have anything. That's why these lawsuits are getting dismissed en masse all across the country. That's why Rudy flipped his shit on me yesterday. So I just wanted to bring that up because I find it extra disturbing. It's like when someone on your own team goes nuts, it bothers you more than when someone on the other team goes nuts.
And by the way,
it's like double.
Thank you. Oh, such amazing donations. We got $50 from Benjamin, $150 from Anonymous. Thank you, Anonymous. Kelly, we mentioned $100. I did $5 just to test if it was working. So thank you guys so much. We're almost at 131,000 raised. As we always say, we don't actually have 131,000 in the bank. That's how much we've cumulatively raised. We've obviously spent it in real time on our reporting. The other thing I'll say is I think that what this is doing when, these, and let's just say Convo Couch and some others who are.
No, I'm talking about people on my personal.
Oh, okay, but I'm talking about Convo Couch and others who are indulging this nonsense because we're contrarian, right? And I've been told they've bashed me by name, so I'll repay the favor. I actually like Fiorella. I met her once. She's very nice.
I'm friends with Fee also.
But when you're wrong, you're wrong.
I don't agree with Fee on this, but I like her.
But something that hasn't been explained, and if I was there, I would have asked Rudolph this. How is it possible, Rudolph, that all of these votes were wrongly switched from Trump to Biden on the top level, on the presidential level, but in all these states you're contesting, Republican senators won, and Republican House candidates won. So it was only rigged at the top. The votes were stolen at the top, but down ballots on the same exact ballot They're not like voting for different races on different ballots. It's all on one ballot. How is it that in Pennsylvania, in Georgia, in Arizona, Nevada, we could go on, Michigan, that Republicans won House seats, Senate seats, and those weren't rigged because those were in favor of the Republicans, but it's stolen at the top. That doesn't make sense. The other thing is, in fairness, this happened after the press conference, Georgia did a hand recount. So if your argument is the machines are riggable and this and that, which, by the way, there's truth to that they can be hacked. If your argument is that, is China and Venezuela and the dead children, the dead people and the children that are voting, they all, the insane things they were saying were just like that. They kept on spouting a new cockamamie thing after the next. Was that also part of the hand recount? Was the hand recount children that were voting or dead people that were voting? Or Venezuela was rigging the hand recount? I mean, it's laughable. The whole thing is laughable. And, to tell you the truth, I can't get in anybody's head, but I think most, even the progressives that are saying this, I don't really think it's about the actual election, frankly. I don't even think it's about voting. I don't think it's about election security for most of these people. I think this is just tribalism. I think it's progressives that are indulging in this, are doing it out of wrong-headedness. I hate the Democrats, so I'm going to be against the Democrats, and I think being against the Democrats is in this way saying Biden didn't really win. That's what, I'm going to be more against the Democrats than Status Coup and their sellouts, and being against the Democrats mean Biden didn't really win. And by the way, Biden should be embarrassed. I think just about any other candidate it wouldn't have been close. You wouldn't have even had to count for days. I think Bernie would have won in an electoral landslide we haven't seen possibly since Reagan in the 80s won in a landslide against, was it Dukakis? So I just think this isn't even about election security. It really isn't. I mean, two things could be true. Was there election fraud against Bernie in 2016? Yeah, we covered it. Was there fraud in this primary? Yes, Iowa caucus. We covered it. I was there. I covered it. We were sounding the alarm. I was saying to Bernie, I was saying to Bernie's campaign, why are you just moving on to New Hampshire, saying, yeah, we got the popular vote, we're moving on? Why didn't your lawyers get involved? Why didn't you call out CNN and MSNBC who were declaring Pete Buttigieg the winner when it was clear that literally Tom Perez was trying to basically toss out the satellite locations that were disproportionately for Bernie to try and just give Pete the illusion, the optics of winning the state delegate equivalent or whatever the hell that meant. So,
freaking Pete.
It's just, to me, I as a news consumer, if I'm a news consumer, I could tolerate an audience. I could tolerate and be okay with a channel that I follow and trust being wrong. If they just do the basic things, correcting things, own it. If you're wrong, you move on. Obviously, if people are just, every day they're wrong, they're misreporting things, that becomes a bigger problem. But, you get some things wrong now and then. That's just journalism. We work in a fast-paced environment. The deadline is every hour on the hour. But I have a real problem when it's beyond that, when it's actual people proclaiming to be journalists that kind of know what they're doing is sloppy, but are doing it anyway out of stubbornness and out of a misplaced narrative. And it almost becomes like a religious, they become zealots to push a narrative. I mean, how many more lawsuits need to be tossed before you throw in the towel? How many, you even have Republican secretaries of states and governors saying, we can't invent fraud. Dominion Energy, that was a smoking gun. Dominion Energy is a smoking gun. Again, if Dominion Energy was tossing votes from Trump to Biden, why wouldn't they do a down ballot from Republicans to Democratic candidates on the Senate, on the House? I'm down with a good conspiracy theory. I think a lot of conspiracy theories are true. Lee Harvey Oswald wasn't the lone shooter that killed JFK. That's clear as day. Oliver Stone was, I mean, he was really made persona non grata when he started reporting on that and exposing that with his documentaries and things. But, you know, it's just disheartening. Rudy Giuliani and them, we can understand. But when you're mentioning progressives in your thing, and this is kind of part of the radicalization we've seen among some progressives. You know, they were made to feel Bernie's the enemy now. Bernie's a sellout.
Yeah.
They're made to think AOC is a sellout. And, I mean, I love him, but Jimmy just did a video ranting about Jamal Bowman and Cori Bush, who haven't even gotten into fucking office yet. And
yeah, that's absurd.
And I love Jimmy, but like, literally, I've been in St. Louis. I've interviewed Cori Bush. I've met her. She's about as pure as they come. And if she does things that seem sellout-ish, I'll challenge her when she's in office. But you're ranting about politicians who haven't even took office yet. Why? Because they're not burning down the village like you want them to do yet? I mean, it's just, I just think that, and I think it's legitimate from Jimmy. I don't think he's faking it. I don't think he's doing it for clicks. I think he really believes this stuff. But, and again, we text sometimes. I like him, and we're friends. But I just think sometimes people's righteous anger, they have a right to be angry, kind of becomes a little extreme where they're losing perspective. And we all have a right to be outraged. This country is rigged. It's unjust. People are being poisoned. People are being left in the streets with no food, no clean water. The lines around the block in Texas, did you see that line down the highway for food? And the Democrats are complicit. They've been allowing Republicans to get away with this shit for years, and when the Democrats have been in power, they've allowed it to continue too. But I also think you got to know your actual enemy. And if you truly believe Bernie Sanders and AOC and these people are the enemies, yeah, maybe they're not as burn the house down as you are. But I also think you have to think about what is the right strategy. Because, yeah, maybe it will make progressives on the internet feel good. And, yeah, we could all cheer if AOC and these people rant and scream at Pelosi and block legislation. But if they would have blocked the legislation, if Bernie would have done the filibuster that I think Jimmy and others wanted him to do to block the CARES Act, maybe that would have made Jimmy Dore and many others happy, but it certainly would have delayed the $600 weekly unemployment check to desperate people. It would have done that. I agree. I don't think I think that bill was the largest upward transfer of wealth in American history. For that extra $600 a week that working people got that were unemployed, the banks got trillions of dollars. I don't think that was just. But at the same time, who am I and who are you to say, yeah, stand your ground, block it, and leave people to wilt? You know, there's short-term strategy and there's long-term strategy. And I think, as much as I love Jimmy and many others, I think that, you know, you got to live in the real world. People are starving. People are hungry. Those unemployed people need to feed their children. Those unemployed people. And it is the Democratic Party's fault for even playing ball in the first place. They should have said 100% no fucking way are we agreeing to any bill that gives corporations money before working people do. But you want to know something? If not for Bernie Sanders, I don't think it would have been $600 a week. He pushed for that. Ro Khanna pushed for that. And that actually not only staved people off from survival, it was a matter of survival, but there was reports that it was the first time people could actually save money and were able to actually add savings to themselves. So, you know, it doesn't have to be all or nothing. We don't have to agree on everything. But I do hope, and I started saying this at the Young Turks. You know, people were saying when Bernie dropped out and endorsed Hillary, you're a sellout. I just think, listen, I mean, if you want to be pure like that, and if you want to have that mentality that everybody's a sellout who doesn't agree with you 1,000%, and, you know, makes their own decisions for what they think is the bigger picture. I think Bernie felt in 2016 and 2020, the bigger picture is, I think Trump is a fascist, so I'm going to go with the corporate Democrat. I'd rather go with the enemy I know than the enemy I don't know. Or whatever that's. No, go with the enemy you know or something like that. And I think Bernie, again, a lot of people don't agree with it, but said, I think Trump is a unique threat. Not that I think Biden is terrific or the Democrats are terrific. I'd rather fight them than Trump and the Proud Boys. And I came to the same conclusion. But, I think it's easy sometimes for people with big YouTube followings who are doing, frankly, fairly well financially to say, fight, because you're not the one. If you don't need the $600 unemployment, I'm not talking about Jimmy in specific. I'm just talking about people that have this mentality. People with large platforms that are saying, fight, don't give in, filibuster. You're probably not the one that is facing eviction or needs that money. Can't, lives paycheck to paycheck. So one lost paycheck is the drowning. So I don't want people to get it twisted. Like, this isn't about Jimmy per se. I'm mentioning him because the Jamal Bowman, Cori Bush video he just did came to mind. But I do think know your enemy, because Pelosi's the one that wouldn't accept the $1.8 trillion package. Is it enough? No, but it was there. It's probably the best you were going to get from Trump and Mnuchin, and she wouldn't accept it for pure politics. Bernie's the one, although I think he's weak in many areas. Bernie's the one now publicly putting Biden on blast, publicly saying, I want the labor secretary, which is putting Biden on the defensive. It seems Bernie's days of diplomacy are over now that Biden got elected. I don't think Bernie's perfect. I've criticized him a lot. But to call somebody who's literally, we wouldn't have an organized progressive movement, there probably wouldn't be an AOC, a Cori Bush, a Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, Jamal Bowman. We could go on and on. If not Bernie Sanders awakening a generation 4 years ago. So I just think, as upset and angry as many people are, perspective needs to be kept.
Jacqueline and I are having a book talk in secret.
Oh, okay.
By
the way, welcome new member Michael. Woohoo! We are now at 1,546 members. Keep it coming. Statuscoup.com/join. Sign up. By the way, you're not just supporting us. You get access to our Discord as a member. You get to join us on our monthly members call, which I think we're having next week, and a lot of other great behind-the-scenes perks.
Sarah Love, 499 in the super chat. Keep up the great work. Thank you, Sarah. So, Jacqueline, to answer your questions, I am obsessed with the Kennedys. JFK, love him. Amazing. Totally into all conspiracies to do with him. CIA in on it. Bobby is much better. Total conspiracy with there as well. The Romanovs, I don't know much about, but I am very, very into the story. I have this gigantic book I have yet to read. So, but you did ask about the Romanovs, so that's all I know. That's it. Yeah. Tell me more. Oh, Chris, send me that video.
And Jen, I just want to show people our back end, behind the scenes back end. We are 1,092 members away from 100,000. 1,092 members away from 100,000. So if you are watching right now and you have not subscribed, do it. Spread the coup. Let's get to 100K before Turkey. Go ahead.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Tell your friends and family to subscribe to this channel. Obviously, it's totally free. I worry sometimes when we say subscribe to Status Coup that people think we mean the membership, which of course we want you to do that too. But subscribe. It's just the click on our YouTube channel and hit the bell for notifications, of course. But tell your friends and family if they're into progressive politics, if they're into politics at all, if they wouldn't care, like if they're like, whatever, I don't care, subscribe, using my account. Do that. Spread the word. Tell everybody on your Reddit channel, your Facebook, your Twitter. Let's get there. Many hands make light work. So we can get there. We're so close. 100K. Let's do it.
Check your text, Jen. I just texted you something. I agree. And it would be It's honestly, we probably, if not for the YouTube suppression, probably would have been at 250, 300,000 subscribers by now. YouTube has suppressed us and hidden us, not just us, many other independent channels. So it's been a lot of hard work just to get to this point. That's for sure.
Marcella says, I don't know what's up with my AirPods. Marcella says, I am currently a $5 a month member. How can I increase to $10 a month? So Marcella, thank you for being a member, first of all. So just go to statuscoup.com/account and log in. And then there will be an option there for you to change your membership type. So you can upgrade from the $5 membership to the $10 membership. If you have any issues at all, just email me at info@statuscoup.com and I'll help you out. And yeah, that's exciting. Thank you for upgrading.
So let's do a little lightning round before we go. Thoughts, comments, questions, concerns. And over 2,500 members too. I wish we had 2,500 members. We have, unfortunately now, we're down to 1,546. Again, this is how many members we've dropped since April. We firmly believe a lot of those losses are not real losses, but due to our website being hacked and memberships not going through, the payments not going through. Again, I can't say this enough. Your financial information wasn't affected. So we're working to get a lot of those people that have been wrongly made inactive. Most of them were paying through Stripe. The two options for membership is to pay through PayPal or Stripe. We've seen most of it on the Stripe end. So we are working to try and get in touch with a lot of those members we think were wrongly made inactive to get them reactivated. We've told you how to do it, but again, go to statuscoup.com. I'll show you one more time. Go to statuscoup.com. Hover over Become a Member here. You'll see subscriptions. Click on subscriptions. And when you click on subscriptions, you should see this, your account status. It'll tell you under active, yes or no. And if it's no, you should see a resubscribe button here. And that once you click resubscribe, it should be pretty straightforward from there. If you don't have it like this, if there's a bunch of different buttons, Jen, they're supposed to then do what?
So if there's a bunch but if it says active, no, go to the right. And if it says stuff like cancel and blah, 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 like several options, click cancel, refresh, then it should just say resubscribe and go ahead and click resubscribe. Right.
But, if you have issues, email us, info@statuscoup.com. info@statuscoup.com, and we'd be happy to help. I hope and pray Jen stays healthy. Yes, we all do. And
thank you.
It's no joke. Many people might know, but not know, but we've both had to quarantine or separate from my wife, her Jen, her children, for just doing our job. So this is not just a thing that affects us, it's our family too. So as of now, Jen's feeling good, so let's hope it stays that way.
Gino Fast 199 in the super chat. Thank you, Gino. Gino's been active in the Discord, and it was Gino's idea to have a spot where people can post ways to easily be more active in contacting politicians. So that's a great spot where you can find websites and easy ways to make phone calls and emails and stuff. So that's just one of many channels we have on that Discord. So yay.
Definitely.
Chris says, Jen, I posted the RF video on the members only Discord. Yay. So join guys. You want that members only Discord, RFK video links, statuscoup.com/join. Cheryl says, sending prayers, Jen. Thank you.
Okay. I want to go eat dinner, and we will be live tomorrow again. We'll be at the press conference in Queens. This poor public housing unit still has no gas. I think it's been 3 months now. They've had no gas. It's basically now freezing temperature. Not freezing, but very, very cold here. and they have no gas to cook hot meals. So we're going to be at that press conference tomorrow. I believe it starts at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific. So don't, cancel your brunch plans. No, I'm just kidding. Be here tomorrow morning. We'll be covering that. I'm not sure if I'm going to go live Sunday yet. I'll see. But definitely, we so appreciate the GoFundMe donations. Wow, we just got another one. Holy cow. Gene, $150 in the GoFundMe. Cannot thank you guys enough. We're now just, what is that, $25 away from $131,000 raised. Let me tell you something.
Best viewers on the planet.
I'm in awe that we've raised that much money and we've not taken a cent from any dirty scumbags. I mean, the biggest one we got was a viewer, $5,000, which was amazing. So thank you guys for continuing. It really has helped us, in some cases, stay afloat, and in other cases, flourish. And it's all connected. The amount of money we got in the GoFundMe allowed us to travel, and being allowed to travel, it helped us build our paid membership, which is the long-term model. So it's kind of that yin and yang between the short-term infusion of money from the GoFundMe that has helped us be out covering all these stories. And we've seen time and time again, we grow the most in terms of paid membership when we're out there. Kind of tough during a pandemic to be out there as much as we want to. But we really appreciate it. So thank you for watching. Jen, any parting words?
No, just thank you all for watching. Thank you so much for your support yesterday. Thank you for your support through this weird quarantine. Hopefully nothing comes of it. Thank you so much for being here and watching Jordan's incredible interview with LaDonna Allard and Standing Rock. A lot of you first came to know Jordan through Standing Rock, and here he is today. Like it shows you what kind of person he is, that he's still on this story, like he hasn't let it go. And yeah, we really appreciate you. You guys are why we do this. So yay.
All right. And kudos to Jen again for getting on Rudy's shit. Like while the rest of
good old Rudy.
while the rest of the people sat there. All right. Take care, guys.